it's almost like that's why we listen to some of the music we listen to, because it takes us back to those moments where I didn't have shit to worry about. Hey, this girl I was hanging out with at the time, that was my only problem. And at the end of the day, I don't even talk to her no more. So it's like you miss those feelings of feeling young. You miss those feelings of having no responsibilities. And when you lose that, you never even noticed, because now you're just in it. Now you're just in this race to be the best. Once again, feeling the need to accomplish everything you wanted to, but not feeling like you have enough time in the day.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today, man, we got a special guest in the building. He's he's one of the up and coming top videographers in Chicago.
Appreciate it.
He's done work with OG Steve-O, Mama Million, Mellow Bucks, and he's got a lot more work in his belt.
Appreciate that, man.
He's the creator of Vaulted Bars, and most importantly, he's got over 5 million views on YouTube. That's an accomplishment.
Appreciate that, broski. Appreciate it.
That's huge, and we were just talking about it, right? But for you, real quick, I want you to explain Vaulted Bars. Where did this idea come from?
So originally, the concept was like, hey, not everyone could shoot a video to every song. Like, think about it. Rappers make like 3 to 4 songs in the studio sometimes, and that's like you probably pick one out of the 4 songs that you shoot. So I'm like, man, they probably throw away like these songs, or they just keep them like vaulted up. Like, you can't shoot a video to every song. So I was like, all right, we got to get these songs out. Or there's like a verse or certain lyrics that people like express themselves on a certain day, and they got to get this music out. And it's like, all right, we can make like a showcase just strictly for these like unreleased songs. So I stuck with that. And then like, I was kind of getting a little tired with like how my videos are looking. So I was like, had this like simple concept in my mind about like how I wanted to format it and like the angles and stuff. So, and then I don't know if you really noticed on the Vaulted Bars, is a different location. So I was using that to like kind of like showcase the city in that way too. So every Vaulted Bars is a different location, places that I've like scouted on my off days, and then give people that like exact spotlight. And then every bar, the camera angle switches so that you put more focus on it. And like I use it like kind of like a minute showcase for people to actually like grab your attention. And then another reason too is like people really gotta like you to check you out on YouTube nowadays. Like you really gotta get them on Instagram at first. That's what I was like, the original concept about it.
Facts. Hey, I forgot to even do the thing, right? Go ahead and introduce yourself, bro. Who are you?
I'm Dawg. I'm a videographer and just like a creative from Chicago. I was born and raised in Westtown, Chicago, so I definitely take pride in that. It's not too many people coming out from there, so.
What do you feel like makes Vaulted Bars different from, all these short form content performances, such as like From the Block?
I do like an application process, so it's like first you got to send me music via email, and I just go through these songs and I really pay attention to these like lyrics or the words you're saying, just because it's like, it's only a minute. I cut it off to a minute, and like I look for dents in the raps. So like if you're just really talking about like Gucci or like clothes and stuff, so I kind of don't go that way. I definitely look for like some type of dents or some type of message in those songs. And also just the way I kind of shoot it, I do like a full body, a half body, and then a close up with it. It's just different emotions. I also do like a freestyle version of the clip that I do. And yeah, it definitely comes together for like that 1 minute.
Why was it so important for you to create something like this?
Man, these rappers, they're making like 3 to 4 songs or like 5. They're just in the studio all day and they can't shoot a song to all these, they can't shoot a video to these songs every time. So like a lot of these songs, like they don't get heard. Like I have songs from a lot of artists like throughout the years that I've worked with for like videos, and these songs never like are heard or seen. So like I definitely like use this opportunity to like get these songs out.
What do you feel like it's doing for the culture though?
Giving like artists like the opportunity to like showcase a little bit more, and it gives people like a piece of content as well.
Where'd the concept come from? Like, how did you even think of this shit?
A part of like being in this space is like you gotta adapt to it. I didn't want to do like the hanging mic stuff. I wanted to respect like the OGs with that one, Aze. And I just figured it out, like, man, I got to do something. I got to adapt. And also, too, like, I wanted Vaulted Bars to kind of be a segment of Dawg. So, like, slowly it's going to translate into the YouTube channel. And, like, maybe get some, like, studio vlogs in and, like, that process of that unreleased music. Like, I think that's the main storm behind it is like just the unreleased music. Like there's just so much unreleased music.
Even from our conversation earlier, what you were telling me is you want to get into these mini docs and tell people stories almost.
For sure.
What makes you want to do all this? Why is it so important to showcase somebody's story to you?
There's so many people that have been forgotten, or like, you know, you kind of want to just like cement things in. And I remember just growing up and watching so many documentaries like on like rappers like Dirk, Chief Keef and stuff like that. And like shit, that meant everything to me at that point. Like I would sit there for like 30, 40 minutes just glued to the TV, and I definitely would love to be like that person for the up and coming generation.
Shit, I mean, that's how I feel with these interviews, right? I'm a storyteller. I love to be able to take the beginning of somebody's story and lead it to where they're at in the current day, right? That's not easy to do when you have this much knowledge and you got to fit it into 10 to 50 minutes or an hour, right? How do you tell somebody's whole life story in an hour? What like what does that process even look like? And that's something that we have to figure out as the creatives. Right now you're not where you want to be, but you're taking those steps to get to where you want to be, right? Maybe you don't want to be shooting this short form content, but you found another way to tell somebody's story through this short form content. And eventually, like you're saying, it's going to lead to the long form content where you're creating these mini docs and telling these people's stories in hour-long documentaries. So not giving up, right? But that's also something that creatives have to do. They have to adapt.
Right.
Their mind is always working of what's next, what's next, what's next, what's going to get me to the next level. How do I get there? Just like we were talking right now. You were like, man, like, how can I help you make your brand bigger? And that's a question I ask myself, right? How do I get to that next level? And it's just something that it's consistency. As long as you're consistent with what you do, people are going to notice. You got to stay in people's faces because the minute you stop, people forget about you. That's the day and age we live in.
I know I'm not like the most active person on Instagram, but I'm here for the long run. Like I'm not here just for, you know, to post something every single day. I like to definitely put my how do I say it? Like putting some dents in what I do.
What do you view as the next step for you? What type of content is going to get you to where you want to be?
Definitely into documentaries, building up the YouTube, getting in front of the camera a bit more. I think that everything I built thus far has strictly been off my logo, not necessarily me. So I think that's just an exciting factor of it. Putting myself out there, engaging more, being more of the culture. And I think that could help me grow into like different locations and spots.
Man, that logo does wonders for you, right?
It's everything I built, man. It's like shit, I always say like I don't play about it. It has my logo on it, man. Like just know it comes from like legit me. It's a piece of me.
What's the craziest spot that logo's placed you in?
When you're next to like damn Polo G, like, you know, if it wasn't for like me doing this at all, it was like, how the hell am I in the room with like Polo G at one point, or like being on sets with like big artists, even like DCG, or like people like I'm filming Mellow Bucks, I'm doing this vaulted bars, I'm holding. I'm like, damn, like she's gonna blow up in like a month or two, like. You know, just being in those positions. So, like, that logo has definitely got me to where I'm at today. And then to this day, like, man, I post stickers throughout the city. People have told me they've seen it. People's, like, been walking around with, like, the hoodies and stuff.
And that logo, like you said, it's even placed you in rooms where, with Polo G, you got credits on the What Up music video. Talk
sure.
about that experience.
Yeah, my boy Diamond, he hit me up. He's like, yo, this is a guy named PGF Nook. He got this What Up remix with Polo. Before that, shit, I've seen Polo. But I've been a part of a documentary with Diamond prior to that. And me and Diamond been having like some chemistry before that. And he invited me to that shoot. At first, it was just calm. You know, we're there setting up. Diamond's like going corner to corner, trying to figure out how he's going to set this video up. And what amazed me about that day was like, man, it's like a huge space. Yet this man goes straight to the back and just makes like this random set where like he puts up his red light, he puts an over light. And next thing you know, he makes like this whole moment in this like I don't know if you noticed the video, but there's like two walls where PGF Nook and Polo are in. And it's like, man, this man just made like a moment out of this. And just, you know, you're there. And when you're on these video sets, the song keeps replaying. You're like, damn, bro, like this shit's gonna blow. And, you know, PGF Nook was blowing up on the south side. And I didn't necessarily hear too much about him at that moment. So just being there and just figuring out like, damn, he's like legit about to blow up. He got Polo G on a song.
What do you feel like you gained from that experience?
So you gotta be flexible with your spaces. Like I don't think like your creativity. Like this man just picked like this corner of this damn big space and just made some shit happen. So definitely like lighting and stuff like that. Also too, just staying calm when like you're the main director. Like I don't think people put like understand that pressure when you're like the main director, the main man of that shoot. Like everyone's coming up to you and like the how to stay calm and like, you know, just be a part of that.
Being the person in charge, that shit is stressful. When I threw my event back in March, it was, hey, I need you to come get somebody at the door. Hey, I don't got an SD card. Hey, these people are about to perform.
For sure.
And you got to manage which is the most important. Making money, making sure it looks good. The money's good, but hey, I need to make sure, you know, we're running a proper event. And then the memories, like, hey, we need somebody to, you know, have these pictures, have these videos. So just when you're the person in charge, it's a whole different beast, right?
For sure.
And that goes back to always working. For creatives, you're always working. Your mind is always racing, and it's hard to slow down. You know, there's a song by Ed Sheeran. It's called Two Step, and I know he's going to laugh at me because I always mention Ed Sheeran. But in the song, he says, because we're living life at a different pace, stuck in a constant race, keep the pressure on, you're bound to break. Something's got to change. And it's really like how creatives live, right? And there's this constant pressure to be the best. There's this constant pressure to stay in people's faces. There's this constant pressure to just not let people forget you. And we keep working and working and working. And even when things feel like they're falling apart, you can be losing relationships. You could be going through the worst thing in your life. And it's like, I don't got time for anybody, but I also don't have time for myself. So what do? You bury yourself in even more work. Because that's what makes you feel comfortable. That's what makes you get through every single day. And if you're distracted by this work, then you don't got to worry about anything else in life other than, hey, I'm going to blow up one day. You know what I'm saying?
Trust in the process.
How has this lifestyle impacted you mentally?
Definitely trying to like have that balance of like being a creative, being there for the family, being there as a friend. There'll be times where I'm clocking in hours at work and then I get messages from certain artists like, yo, I'm trying to get on this. Yo, I'm trying to be here. Yo, I'm trying to do this. And it's like, I only have so much time, so I have to be very selective with my time, or I have to like be precise on what I do. You know, some moves will get you a new audience. Some moves will be, it'll go for like maybe a client that I had like 2 years ago that, you know, needs something from me, or like a refresh or something. And, you know, sometimes you feel like you're letting these people down, just ignoring them or not being able to help them in that moment. You know, you only have so much in time a day. And then also, too, like, man, I have some older parents, it's a little older. And, you know, they depend on me sometimes, you know. You could say maybe, how do I say it? I have a sister who's older, and it's just me, so I'm younger. So I'm with my parents a lot, so I have to be there for them. And, you know, trying to be creative at the same time, I got to be really selective with my time. And sometimes I feel like I let people down. And just like, man, you're clocking in these hours and these are things that you have to do. And you feel like you're wasting your potential in there sometimes, you know? It's like, damn, I could be doing this, but yeah, I'm here because I have to.
There's that pressure that falls on you, this pressure that doesn't go to anybody else but you. Do you feel like that pressure has almost broken you at times?
And I'm still standing. I'm still trying. Still, you know, still standing, still solid. So, can't let it. I won't let it. And keep going.
What do you feel like's a pro and con that you've had from feeling this need to constantly work?
You only get this one life. I'm only gonna be this age one time. Like I'm only gonna be, you know, I don't like to waste days. And just being able to give my all every single day is definitely for me. Even if it's like as simple as like just simple work or just simple being there for my family, I'm gonna give it my all. And sometimes that's draining on one person, but I don't know if it's you know how to say it, affecting me. But regardless, I'm gonna keep moving forward.
That's me, bro. I fucking hate wasting days.
People's times matter, especially the older you get. Like, man, you know, you got more responsibilities, you got more more things to worry about. So time does matter for sure.
That feeling of not having to worry about anything,
Man, I've had that feeling since.
it just goes away. One day you grow up and that's it. You don't have that feeling anymore. And that's why it's almost like that's why we listen to some of the music we listen to, because it takes us back to those moments where I didn't have shit to worry about. Hey, this girl I was hanging out with at the time, that was my only problem. And at the end of the day, I don't even talk to her no more. So it's like you miss those feelings of feeling young. You miss those feelings of having no responsibilities. And when you lose that, you never even noticed, because now you're just in it. Now you're just in this race to be the best. Once again, feeling the need to accomplish everything you wanted to, but not feeling like you have enough time in the day.
For sure. 100%.
But not only is this feeling impacting you, it's impacting those around you. You start to not have time for your parents. You start to not have time for your friends, for your siblings, for your significant other. They start sharing you with your passion. What are some relationships you've seen impacted by this?
Sometimes I feel like, man, there's so many people I could help or I want to like help. There's so many like events I would love to be at, but there's only for me it's like, man, aging too. Like, man, how do I say it? Man, I'll spend so many times like just simple as like editing, man. I'll lock in for editing for 8 hours, man. It's like, damn, I could go out and spend time with my parents or spend time with some friends and catch up and but I'm on the grind and time flies, man. And it's like I'll do it next week, and it's like time flies. But man, I'll just say everyone around me, sometimes, people just stop fucking with me just because I'm busy. Or some people would be like, damn, this man's fake just because he hasn't got back to me. It's like, man, it's like, bro, I got to really be precise with every day that I have. Or like, I don't want to try to ignore you, but it's like, man, I only got so much time and I have to be very precise with what I do or like how I make this space for it.
What do those conversations with those people look like, though?
For the most part, with family, it's understanding. They know this is what I've been doing. As far as like clients, sometimes they'll be like, "Damn, Rick, what you been on, man?" It's like, how those conversations be like.
But not for me, for the people, right? For the people watching this, like, they don't know what that looks like. And even to let people understand, like, who you are, right? Why you have to take a step away from certain relationships, why you have to take a step away
For
from
sure,
certain
yeah,
clients.
it's so blind. Like they don't even know anything about it or like what position you're in or what you're facing.
How do you explain that to somebody who doesn't know what that looks like?
I always have something to edit. So no matter what day it is, I have something to edit every single day. Even if it's a vaulted bar, it's a client, it's something. So that's already mounted in my day. So I always have to at least give myself some time to edit. If not, you're gonna be behind because you have another video coming up and you have to shoot this like content out. Also posting, you gotta make time for that. For me, sometimes that's a bit of a struggle just because it's like I'm really picky. I'm really like, I really care about what I put up. And then which is a problem. I definitely gotta work on that. And then also too, clocking in those hours, like that's already like half your day. And then your energy levels, you probably stayed up all night, your eyes hurt. You got to go through a whole day with your whole eyes like squinting, so like, or tired and shit. So the energy levels too, like, man, you put so much energy in the first half of your day, your second half's gonna be ass. Like, you're gonna be tired editing. I fall asleep editing sometimes.
But aside from the work, right? Because there's so much that you could talk about professionally. It's what we all do. We all work until we accomplish the goals, or we at least work until we think that we've accomplished what we needed to for the day.
Right.
You've seen those relationships impacted. You've seen the distance it's put between you and certain friends, between you and certain family members. How has that really impacted the way that you carry yourself? Do you just not care that those strains have been put, or do you just feel like it'll eventually be worth it?
I have aunts and uncles and cousins, and they're only getting older. And, sometimes you feel like, health is a part of that too. Like, man, not everyone's standing 100% health, and people's days sometimes feel like they're numbered and stuff, especially like living in the city, man. You definitely don't want to take that for granted. Like, you want to, be, how how do I say it, active in these people's lives and stuff. So sometimes I feel like guilty sometimes when I don't go out and hang out with certain people.
Why do you feel like it hasn't pushed you to change your ways?
I'm definitely trying my best. Like I would say maybe scheduling a little better. But you know, I'm also just one person. Sometimes it's like, man, I really got to do this because it's a deadline behind it, so I have to put that first. Just like, damn, I really got to sleep because I got to get up in the morning.
And it goes back to not even having enough time for yourself, for all those things that you work on consistently, daily, the things that are important to you. It's just a hard thing to balance, and it's a constant battle that I've had. And that's why I do love the song by G-Eazy. It's called Everything Will Be Okay. And I mentioned it multiple times on here because I don't know, when I was like 14, I loved the song and I saw myself in it for some reason. And even to this day, 9 years later, I still see myself in it. And maybe that was just the path I was meant to live out. In the song, he says, contemplating just who I could have turned out to be. If I'd stayed and weren't heard, what would amount to me? If I had looked and ain't found what I had found in me. I mean, inside, would they love me, never look down on me? And he's talking about, what if he wouldn't have left his hometown to pursue his career?
For sure, the what ifs definitely like will kill you.
What if I would have stayed with that girl and lived out that normal basic life that everybody lives?
For sure.
Would I have been happy? Would I have done everything I would have wanted to do in life? Would I be as big as I am right now? And that was the album that really pushed him to like the
Next
level
level.
he's at, and that's where he stayed. But it makes you wonder, right? Like, once you, like you said, all these what ifs. What if I did this? What if I did that? But you just got to keep pushing. You just got to keep doing what you
For
want
sure.
and not let other people impact you. And the reason I pulled this, the reason I pulled this, because I wanted to ask you, what relationship do you feel like has been irreparably damaged due to your constant pursuit in your career?
I've always had pretty close friends like through high school. They've been like they're legit support me on any upload I do. They've been great, and it just feels like it's somewhat of a distance. When you get into high school, you can be like, yeah, bro, we're gonna do this, we're gonna travel here, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. It doesn't necessarily work like that, man. I probably see them maybe like once every 2 months, and it definitely puts a little toll on me. I know can't work like that all the time, but whenever I do see them, it's a good time. But those relationships are definitely impacted.
Unfortunately, a lot of the times you're friends with people because of where you grew up. You're friends with people because of the memories you made with that person. The same friends you made at 10 years old, a lot of the times you don't have anything in common with them anymore because you've all become different people. You've all lived different experiences in life that have shaped you into the person you are today. For me, for example, I went to college. I did my thing. I had my fun. My friends went straight to working right after high school. So now they're mature in the fact that I have all these bills. I have to, I have a family to provide for. And then there's me. I just started really working a year or two ago, because I had just graduated college. And even then, I don't have to work as hard as them. They have to work 10 times harder than I do. And that's no knock on them and the path they chose. But that's just the reality of it. Now they have to work 10 times harder than me. Their schedules are a little bit different than me. And I wish I'd be able to have that relationship with them. I wish we were almost the same person, but
Doesn't work like that, yeah.
everybody's going to go through their own things and it's going to change them. What was a moment that really shaped you into who you are, and what really instilled this need to work all the time?
Me and my sister are like at a difference in age. We're 10 years apart, so I was always usually, wandering alone, or just like my imagination's always been how do I say it, huge or big. And I've always just felt like, man, I need to make it happen for myself, or I need to make it happen, man. It's like I was the only person I could count on. I need to make this happen. No one else is gonna make it happen. I don't have another person near me or close to me that could do it. Also, too, like just the person that I am, I could trust myself. I know I could make something happen. And I've always just carried this type of pride where it's like Um, shit, you gotta do it, Rick. You gotta make this work.
How is being a creative defined who Rick Dawg is?
It's in me. Since a kid, I've always been like into drawing. I was always like early on in high school, I was into graffiti. And it's just always been my imagination has been always big. I've always been hands on. Early on, like in school, I was like always drawing for the teachers, like even for like a damn like billboard or like I would have 2 art classes. And I caught on to music like early on in high school. I was really watching like the whole Chicago drill scene. That was like super inspiring for me. And I just knew I'd like wanted to be a part of this. And as I grew, it's like, man, I was going to college. And that was like the first time where I felt like I didn't fit in. I needed to really follow what I was doing. I was doodling on papers and shit like that. It's like, man, I really need to chase this passion of just being creative, and videos came across.
And we've talked a lot about these videos. We've talked a lot about you and your focus on your career. But who's Rick outside of the videos?
I'm just a helping hand and a funny guy. I definitely like to joke around. I like to make people feel comfortable. I definitely want to just feel like a friend for everyone. I think that's came from like my mom. My mom has always been like a helping hand. I think that's what comes out of me as a director too. Like I definitely like to make people feel comfortable. I definitely matured a lot from like doing these like directing and stuff. I've like heard that from family where it's like I'm a little bit more serious than what I was. Because it definitely drives you up. You gotta be more serious so you could be taken like more serious.
Do you feel like you'll ever be able to find the balance between work and having successful relationships?
I'm definitely gonna try to make it happen. There's some relationships that will be lost. There's gonna be some relationships that are gonna stay. And you know, it's a ride. So I'm definitely gonna try my best, and whatever comes through at the end, they'll come through.
Talking about the relationships, I want to take it back real quick. How has Vaulted Bars helped you connect with artists that you might have not been able to?
A lot of these artists, they don't have like a cameraman that will lock in and do these type of things or do exactly. So this Vaulted Bars definitely has helped me like get connected. It's like a little less of a process. Like these Vaulted Bars take maybe like an hour. You know, rappers have not so much time. So Vaulted Bars definitely has connected me. Also like Danielle from No More Heroes has definitely connected me with a couple people.
Man, I appreciate you coming through. Make sure you go ahead, check out Rick Dawg on Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're at, right, bro?
Appreciate you, broski. Thanks for having me.
Make sure you go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
Broken pieces, who's to blame?